Hey everybody, it's Random here with a new recent issues. The FF1 is in production. I'm going to get MJ Knight to get me that video footage tonight, or there's going to be trouble. I'm kidding. Today we only have 4 on the chopping block, and in relation to Thor, as you can tell the back cover. Release date is next week, actually, for those of you who are going to go check it out. I'll probably see it on the weekend or whatever, so hope to see you there. What I'm really disappointed in this week were the other 3 kind of mixed reactions. So we'll start in no particular order. We're going to start with X-23 versus Dakin #1. And just so you're sure, it's not Dakin, it's Dakin, apparently. Dakin, tomato, tomato, whatever. Now, just so we're all clear on this and nobody's confused, Dakin is the son of Wolverine. Don't know who his mother is. Can't say I care. And X-23 is the clone of Wolverine. That's all you really need to know. One's his son, the other's a clone. That's all you need to know. Now, to my understanding, there's never been a meeting or a fight between these 2 characters before. So this is like the first time they're seeing each other. And you really get that sense in some of the writing, like, Dakin doesn't really believe what she's saying is true. Like, you know, you're a clone of my dad, you get the fuck out of here. And he gets the proof he needs, as I can show you in here, if I can find it, when he asks her to prove it, and you can clearly see she just drops the claws and he says, ah. And the fight they have, it's, you know, a typical Wolverine affair, you know, rush in, stabby, stabby, stab, except it's just 2 claws rather than 3. The artwork, just find out who did this. The pencils, according to this, is by a guy called Ryan Stegman, and it's actually, out of the 3 books I've got here, it's one of the best artwork. Yeah, it's even better than Carnage #4, if you can believe that. Very stylized, typical kind of like a mishmash of American comic book with like indie coloring, and it's actually a very good read. You know, I can't even recommending an X-23 book because I mean, my complete knowledge of her character comes from Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and that god-awful theme song, as you've all heard by now. But yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Dakin. All I know is he was in the Dark Avengers. I got Dark Avengers Wolverine to read at some point, which I got as a Christmas gift. I'm going to read it, you know, just got other shit to do. I mean, I still got a copy of V for Vendetta I need to read, so give me time and I'll get it done. So yeah, I mean, this book alone is worth checking out. If you're not familiar with either character, then you just ignore it and just go get something else. But if you're kind of curious, like who win in the fight between these 2, then, you know, check it out. We come to the conclusion to what I'm going to be citing as one of the best storylines of this year. We're looking at Wolverine and Jubilee #4. And for those of you who've been keeping track of this, now, I've really changed my opinion about this idea. When I first heard it, I was like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, Wolverine acting daddy to a vampire Jubilee, what a load of bollocks. But this has won me over. You know, from issue 1 to 4 has won me over this series. Wonderfully written, you know, it develops and it progresses further along, and you really understand, you know, how patient Wolverine can be with a little brat like Jubilee. And Jubilee isn't useless anymore. For those of you who remember the X-Men 90s cartoon, she actually does something now. You know, holy shit. The artwork, just going to remind myself quickly. Phil Noto, or Noto, however you pronounce that. Again, it has its own stylized look, as it reminds me of things like Marvel Zombies and some of the Evil Dead books. You know, when they did the crossover with Marvel Zombies, stuff like that. It deals with like some of these newer age X-Men characters, and as you know, I don't really read X-Men, so I don't know the hell characters like Rockslide, I think his name is. I mean, so I got no idea who these people are. I mean, I only really know the characters that showed up in the cartoons and the movies. That's my basic knowledge of X-Men. So that's why I tend to avoid X-Men books, but solo books about Wolverine and things like this, I mean, it's really worth a read. I mean, if you want to see a recent issue's full review of these 4 books, you know, request away, I'll gladly do this, because this is a lot of fun. You know, okay, it's not on the caliber of things like Avengers and whatnot, but, you know, this is a decent standoff idea, and I hope to see more of this. And according to the back pages here, they say, like, the coming soon page, there's going to be an X-23 versus Jubilee fight. That'd be kind of cool. You know, Mary Sue versus vampire thing. So yeah, I mean, if you want to read a decent story, you know, I implore you to go and find this book and read any of the back 3 issues. Really worth the time. Then we're going to start, as you know, as we go downwards, we'll start moving towards the really horrible stuff. We're looking at The Amazing Spider-Man 658. This is dealing again with the whole Future Foundation idea. Now, my whole stance on Spidey and the Future Foundation, if I haven't made it clear already, I mean, it does make a little more sense than the Avengers, but still, I'm kind of with the crowd that says that Spidey shouldn't be a part of a team. I mean, he's a loner. I mean, that's just what Spidey's all about. But if he has to be a part of a team, I will say it should be a part of the Fantastic Four. And according to this front cover, it's 50 years to Fantastic Four, as you can see right there. I can hold the camera straight. There we go. The book does have some pretty funny moments, and I'm not really sure what they're going with in terms of art style. They're really going for this retro, almost Silver Age look. It reminds me of some of the art from Comic Jumper, when he goes into like the classic styling of comic books. And, I mean, it's a good idea. I mean, the book does give me a few chuckles. I mean, the sight of Spidey in this makeshift, like, Fantastic Four costume, it's ridiculous, it's cheesy, although I think it would have been better if it was the Amazing Baghead, or, you know, Plastic Baghead Man, or whatever it was called. That would have been funnier. But, for what it's worth, it's a decent, at best, story. And he even touched light on something that I said, that he even comments that in his new white costume that he looks like Anti-Venom, as you all know, a character I want to see a bit more of. You know, because it was a good idea. And right at the end, a possible storyline is that, if I can find it, Carly Cooper begins to catch wind that Spidey, or Peter, is not really where he says he is most of the time. And, you know, she's going to put 2 and 2 together eventually. And hopefully we get kidnapped by the Green Goblin and thrown off a bridge, for all we know. Again, wishful thinking. Yeah, I mean, if you're very dismissive of the new Spidey stuff, then avoid it. But if you can handle him being a part of another team and getting another ridiculous costume, then go for it, you know? Can't be any worse than what I'm going to talk about now. Oh dear, what a disappointment. We're looking at Carnage number 4. I'm going to quote what I said on the Storm Artist. Oh my fucking god. What happened? What the hell happened with this? I mean, you'll recall, you know, my overpraising reviews of issues 1, 2, and 3. You know, genius writing, genius concepts. This one kind of just took it and threw it out the window. And you're probably saying, oh, come on, dude, it can't be that bad. I mean, yeah, Carnage, you know, he's a one-dimensional character. I mean, it can't get any sillier than that, can it? 4 simple words. Super Mecha Hulk Carnage. Yeah, I'll let this sink in for a minute. Anyway, turns out that the main villain of the story has been creating these soldiers with bits and pieces of Carnage's essence in them. So, for example, Neves, how do you pronounce that? Alright, again, pronunciation is not my best thing. Kazuya and Heihachi, there we go. Okay, someone can pronounce this character's name, and great. But, you know, her arm, these guys' biosuits were all designed based on Carnage's components. And Carnage basically is like, oh cool, I'm going to rip this out of you and glue it to myself. Thus we get this gigantic, like I said, Super Mecha Hulk Carnage. And it just looks ridiculous. I mean, you can't see it, but MJ Knight's off of the camera. What do you think? Yeah, he's head desking right now, in case you can't hear it. I mean, I was eating the subway today, reading this in the galleries, and I was just staring at this like, this has got to be a joke, right? I mean, they cannot be serious. And for me, when they had revealed that Neves' arm was a symbiote, I was thinking, oh cool, so we're going to get the female Carnage after all. And there's just this one panel, I can find it for you folks, right here. This is one panel right down here. Flip this around so you can see it better. It looked like something really cool was going to happen. But in the next page, what happens? She trips and falls and the symbiote just falls off. Or, let me just look at it again. I think she's ripping it off herself. Wow. false advertisement at its finest. Yeah, he just sent me an image saying, what the fuck. Yeah. The main problem I have with this book that you'll notice that I hate about the Avengers, which I've done in recent issues, is they end these comics with these cliffhanger endings that are supposed to make you do this. Now, oh my god, I can't wait to see what happens, and then every single time, it's a letdown. Tell you what, I'm going to spoil the ending of this book right now. I don't think Marvel are going to be happy about me doing this, but I'm going to spoil this for you right now. What you see here, if I can hold it properly, is it's revealed that Shriek now has the new symbiote mechanic arm thing attached to her, and Doppelganger somewhere in the background. I'm fucking calling this right now. And if I was right, you know, goody for me, I was right. I'm calling this. In the next issue, in the grand conclusion, 2 scenarios I foresee here. 1, Carnage just kills Shriek and just glues the thing to himself and, I have a new arm. Or 2, Carnage is just going to kill the symbiote because he's like, I don't want another toxin running around. So I'm calling it. Or, no, I'll throw in a third one. Third one, that somehow Neves becomes a new host, or she becomes a new Carnage anyway. Just to throw us off base here. But this wasn't that great. I mean, I was on par to say this was going to be the best series of 2011. I know it started last year, but the majority is focused in this year. But it kind of fell right near the last hurdle, because this book is absolute shit. I mean, if you've got the first 3 issues, only get this to complete the series, but this is the weak link. It has too many weird ideas, and just like I said, Super Mecha Hulk Carnage just looks dumb. You know, I can tolerate Matt Gargan, I can tolerate Anti-Venom or Flash Thompson as Venom, I can tolerate that, but Super Mecha Hulk Carnage. Yeah. Well, that's going to be it for now, folks. The Fantastic Four special is still coming. I got to go work on that. 2 new Richard Bacon episodes in the works. And that's all I got to say. Later, guys.